Hey Pisces, hope you guys are doing all right. I have been sitting here connecting with some imagery as I've been shuffling the cards for your reading today, and I saw three things specifically. I saw a turtle, I saw an owl, and I saw the moon, but like with a woman's face on it. And so with the turtle, obviously, slow, deliberate movement. I think I said in a comment to somebody yesterday, that the turtle wins the race not by speed but through endurance. Kind of a callback to the hare, the turtle, the tortoise and the hare. I think that's the name of the story. So like careful, slow, methodical action that may take a little extra time, but you end up getting where you're trying to be in the end. And the owl, while to us in the West usually represents like wisdom, clear sight in the darkness, piercing perception that allows you to weed out I wanted to say the ruffians, the rodents, the rats, the vermin that oppose our aims or oppose a perceived positive outcome. In the Hindu paradigm, the owl, specifically the barn owl, which is more along the lines of what I saw, is one of the companions of Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth and abundance and prosperity. And she is actually said to be the barn owl, is actually said to be a manifestation of Lakshmi's sister, Alakshmi, which is like the opposite of everything Lakshmi represents, poverty and lack and, just not having the resources or the food available, dirty clothes, abandoned buildings, all those sorts of things are like said to be the haunts of Alakshmi, or I think one of her other names is Niriti, I think. But she's like the goddess of poverty, and I think it's interesting that she is the consort, or the companion rather, of Lakshmi, of wealth, because even in extreme poverty, even when we don't have money available to us, there's still opportunity to find the riches present in the situation. Like wealth is always available to us, abundance is always available to us. It just might not appear the way that we expect it to. Kind of like a callback to you're not automatically a victim in a dire situation. You can see the opportunity for finding the positive in any situation. Maybe not the best way to have worded that, but I'm hoping that you're kind of following what I'm trying to put out, because I think that was kind of the sense that I was getting when I was seeing the owl as I was shuffling. But we'll get a little bit more into specifics as I pull these cards out, and hopefully we can find ways to make connections. Our first card is going to be your significator card, and I'm going to set that right over here by my friend Henry. He's going to keep an eye on you throughout the reading, okay? So we have the 10 of coins. Interesting, because this is very much like the expression of everything that Lakshmi is, this space of abundance and wealth and prosperity, and whether that's actually like having physical riches or like just feeling rich in spirit is kind of up to the interpreter, I guess, because Lakshmi is present in either case. She is spiritual riches or she is physical material riches. So just kind of keep that in mind. It seems like it's going to be a theme for the reading today, given that that's the card that came out. So for our next card, representing kind of your immediate environment, we have the Knight of Wands, which represents very swiftly moving energy, very busy energy, very deliberate, passionate energy. This could be a representation of the role that you're taking in your life, trying to kind of grab things by the reins and charge forward with a particular passion project or a particular vision or desire that you have. Um, sorry, that was kind of bugging me. But this is definitely like a very dynamic environment that you're interacting with, or that you're even creating for yourself. Maybe creating a space that's conducive for you to be creative or to work effectively in some way. For our challenge card today, we have Justice. There we go. Now this is Libra's card. Given that it's in the challenging position, I'm almost wondering if there's like a relating with injustice that's happening. Maybe feeling like you're on the wrong end of the joke. Like viewing your life as a joke and you're like on the wrong end of it. And Justice is kind of dispensing like unequal rewards for the amount of pain and stress that you've been put under in your environment, and you're like definitely like taking an active role in your life. You're not like sitting by and letting things happen to you. You're not being the victim, but you're definitely maybe feeling like one. And so with the challenge being Justice card, I just heard don't take it personally. Like, this is all part of the process. It's all part of a larger picture that maybe you're not able to see right now, but it's like the message is to keep going, to keep, I heard keep exerting. Keep committing your time and your energy to whatever it is that you're working towards with this Knight of Wands. I feel like if you have a vision in your mind and you're working towards it and you're trying to make it happen, and it feels like everything is kind of against you, or you're not really seeing the results of the effort that you're putting in. The turtle just came into mind. Like, this is all part of a very slow and deliberate process, and it might take a lot longer than you expect it to, but it's going to happen. Like, it's going to manifest. These riches that you envision on a spiritual or material level are at the end of this tunnel, and it's just a matter of you enduring through the trial that this tunnel represents. And I'm saying all this just because Saturn is still in your sign. There's still that very heavy weight being pressed down on Pisces right now. So there's a need that the universe is imposing upon you to be very methodical with your movements, like 3 steps forward, 5 steps back. And it's okay, because that offers you an opportunity to revise and improve your approach in the future so you can go farther. And even though you're going to be coming back some more steps, you'll still have made some progress. And each time that you're kind of set back is just an opportunity to improve and revise. Try to see it that way. Try to see it more as opportunity rather than obstacle. For the past position, we have the Knight of Swords. So we've got 2 swords together, and they are opposing elements. So we have the Knight of Wands being fire and the Knight of Swords being air. And what happens when those 2 elements come together? You get a wildfire. Like, that blaze is kicking up and moving. But it could be that the Knight of Swords was kind of like this approach of an ideology, a philosophy, a thought, a framework of thought that was moving very quickly, kind of charged its way into your life, shook things up, maybe you broke a few pots in the patio along the way. It was like a wild wind that kind of blew through your life and stirred things up. And then in the process, it dried everything out, and everything was stark and very severe, like very much like you were seeing the bare bones of everything, like whether that's like a manifestation of like poverty or something. But it's like this provided the environment for the spark of inspiration, this Knight of Wands to kind of blossom. This passion kind of took over the emptiness that was cleared by the wind that blew into your life, represented by this Knight of Swords. Could be an actual person, usually an air sign, Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. I almost totally spaced. I was like, what's the third one? But somebody who has more of an intellectual approach to things, is very adept at communicating um, their thoughts in a way that's effective and kind of cuts to the bone of the situation, and maybe help to provide you with a realization or a new perspective on things. And now that's kind of what's goading you forward and what's kind of inspired your present state of dynamism and action in your life with this Knight of Wands. Like whatever it is, there's just like a lot of movement in your life right now. In the future position, we have the King of Wands, which I think is a nice progression from that Knight of Wands energy. Like this is, I'm seeing like the overseer for the project, like where the Knight of Wands was kind of like in the field, making sure that the team was working towards making this project manifest. It's like the King of Wands is in a position of authority and is even above that, and is now able to sit back and allow the manifestation to take shape without his input. It's like you've poured your passion into something that's taken on a life of its own, and now you're able to watch the unfolding occur, and obviously, participate and interact with it to ensure that it's growing in the directions that you want it to go, and taking the shapes that you want it to take. But it's like that's what's in the future. Like this is something that you're working towards, something that almost seems inevitable just based on the present circumstances and the momentum that you're kind of building up with your choices at this moment in time. Crowning your reading, we have the Ten of Cups, which is the last decan, the last face of your sign, Pisces. And this is like ultimate fulfillment, spiritual riches, in addition to these material riches. This is feeling overjoyed by the prospect of being alive and appreciating all the beauty that life has to offer you, all the love and the shared camaraderie that being something gives you the opportunity for. And that's kind of what's acting as your pole star throughout this whole situation. Like you're aiming towards this state of spiritual fulfillment and abundance, spiritual stability, even spiritual culmination, spiritual liberation, and being able to emotionally appreciate every aspect and facet of your life. And like I said, I feel like it's going to be a slow and deliberate process, but you're going to get there as long as you keep focused and you keep working towards this, and you keep pushing past any perceived injustices. Like I'm calling back to this Justice card here, being this challenge. Like just because it seems like you're moving 3 steps forward and 5 steps back, don't count that as a loss. Really keep in mind that every step is progress, even if it's backwards. Like even if the step is backwards, it's still forward progress. Try not to be so linear too. Like it's an unfolding spiral. Like every experience you have is just going to inform and nourish and embellish the manifestation and give it more life, more structure, more color. At the base of your reading, this is kind of like your subconscious motivations. This is the 5 of Cups. This is being in a state of lack consciousness, loss consciousness. This could be kind of the mentality that maybe poverty, if we're going to stick with the theme of abundance, of Lakshmi, of that sort of scenario. Like this is feeling like you don't have enough, even though your basic needs are met. Like you have the 2 cups behind this figure that are still standing, still offering an opportunity to be nourished and happy and fulfilled and content, but you're too focused on these 3 of Cups, these inadequacies, these lacks, these points of lack within your life. And it's like this is what's spurring you onward. Like things are okay, maybe, like your basic needs are met, but is that enough? It's that feeling of not enoughness that's motivating this momentum forward that you're kind of manifesting with this reading here. So for your inner influences, we have the Strength card. I think that's pretty good. Feeling confident, feeling capable, feeling like your directives are in order. You have your base instincts and impulses and desires kind of under control. And now you're able to move forward more effectively because of that. Like you're able to direct your energy and your willpower effectively because you're not being distracted by every little distraction in your inner experience. You're not, feeling really drawn towards sitting around watching TV or indulging in too much food or sex or drinks or whatever. Like you're not feeling that escapist mentality. You're feeling very practical, very embodied, very strong, very confident. And very able to face the obstacles that life is presenting you with. Like there's endurance, there is power within you that you're starting to tap into maybe, and allowing that to spur you forward, to inspire your actions and your decisions. And I think that's really positive energy to be working with. So if you can tap into that, really meditate on that and tap into that energy, because you've got it. Like you have the endurance and you have the capability available to you to manifest this 10 of cups and even this 10 of coins. Like you can do that. And maybe that's part of what Saturn's lesson is. No matter what your circumstances are, how terrible they might be perceived to be, there's so much opportunity, there's so much potential just waiting for you to harness and shape it. And maybe that's what this Knight of Swords in the past kind of presented you with, was this challenge to do better, to be better, because you can do it. Because you can, period. Your outside influences, we have the 3 of coins. And this is a sense of evaluation of work. Like your work is being evaluated potentially by bosses or co-workers or even just friends. Some like personage, like some sort of maybe group of people or some person is taking stock of the things that you're doing, the actions that you're making, the decisions that you're making, and is kind of evaluating them according to their own criteria. Maybe providing input, corrections that need to be made. Like if you're writing a book or something, this is like the process of having that book edited or looked at for typos and errors, that sort of thing. Like this is that reevaluation process to make sure that the finished product is perfect. Or just having your decisions, your work being appreciated. Like these people, these figures can be looking up at the work that this mason has done and seeing like what an excellent job that has been done. Everything is so proportionate, everything's so beautiful and perfect. It's like you did that. So when you get complimented or commended or appreciated for your work, accept it and allow that to inspire even more momentum. And if you're not receiving that, that doesn't mean that it's not that your work isn't worth the appreciation that you're not receiving. Like whether or not you're receiving that, you should continue forward. Appreciate your own work. Appreciate your own process. Appreciate the results of your own efforts, even if nobody else is. But all the better if they are. It's just even more fuel for the fire that's already burning in you right now. For your hopes and fears, we have the Queen of Wands. And she is next to this King of Wands over here. I'm almost wondering if there is a desire for partnership. Like when you come into this King of Wands energy and you embody this very driven and focused and passionate authority, that's kind of shaping the life around you and manifesting as you desire. You're almost hoping to maybe connect with somebody who shares your visions, shares your passions, and can help provide even more variety and stability to the process. A little more beauty, a little more embellishment maybe, or just a fresh perspective on the same vision. Could also be that you're hoping for an opportunity to just enjoy life, to kind of sit back and appreciate and take pleasure in things again, to kind of maybe even party a little bit, but to reconnect with the very sensual, I heard yummy, yummy facets of being alive and having a body again. And that could also be something that you're afraid of, like you're trying to maybe bury yourself in a project or work, and you're hoping for this partnership, or you're hoping for this sensual joy, but you're also afraid of it at the same time. So I'm going to pull another card just to get a little more clarification on which path to take. We have the moon. Remember how I said I saw the moon before the reading? And the Queen of Wands is kind of looking over at this moon here. Like, hers is the face that I saw in the moon. She is looking towards the body. That's the aspect of the moon that's being called into question for me right now. Like, the body. The moon represents the individual body, the form, the shape that the light of the sun takes in the manifest world. And it's connecting with the flow of the fluids. Like I'm seeing like the vascular system and like the blood that's flowing through it and providing energy and nourishment to all the cells in all the different parts of the body. And it's like she's connecting with that process. She's connecting with the feeling of that. She's connecting with the power of that even, and learning how to not necessarily manipulate it, but work within the rhythms inherent within it. She's tapping into the natural rhythm in her own self, her own body. I could also potentially see this as like hoping for pregnancy, hoping for fertility in some way, hoping for creative inspiration, just kind of trying to connect with the manna falling from the sky, because I'm looking over at all the yods that are falling from the moon in this card. Like trying to connect with divine inspiration and divine creativity, and how to harness and work with that. Hopefully all of that kind of makes sense. I tried to kind of universalize and generalize it as best I could, so hopefully that was successful. For our final outcome, which is more like the likely outcome just based on where the momentum is going and where your decisions are going, we have the Five of Wands, which is the middle decan of Leo. And while this can represent a conflict of desires on some facet, it can also represent play. Like specifically, I'm seeing them as children, like play fighting, and I'm like hearing the mom calling this child back. Like this child is looking back because his mom is calling him back for dinner. Like I don't feel like the conflict is anything substantial if there is conflict that's manifesting. It's more something along the lines of an exercise in will, an exercise in creativity, and it's like through different opinions about how something should be done, how certain work flow should take shape. It's through the different opinions that new ideas emerge. It's through the confluence, if that's the right word, the interaction of these opposing viewpoints that births the new idea. It births something that's even better than the two of them on their own, because it's a combination of both. I'm hearing voices saying like, does this go here or does this go here? Like they're open to direction, they're open to taking input, but they have ideas of their own. So being open to maybe outside ideas. I feel like there's a lot of people involved in your reading, because we have the 4 court cards, we have the Knight of Swords, the Knight of Wands, the King of Wands, and the Queen of Wands. Like there's potentially multiple people involved in this process that you're undertaking right now. So maybe being open to the different opinions that they might have to offer the manifestation of this vision that you're working towards. And being appreciative, even if you don't necessarily agree with or want to take on what they're bringing to the table, if that makes sense. Don't burn any bridges. Another thing with the moon card I like to kind of bring to our mind too is trusting in the timing of things. Like kind of going back to the turtle and to Saturn, like everything kind of manifests in its own rhythm, in its own time, and being okay with that is a boon in anyone's life. Like being able to understand the flux and the flow, the high tides and the low tides, like it's all part of the process. There's a larger picture that you're focusing on with this 10 of coins and this 10 of cups. Like I feel like you have high ideals that you're striving towards. And this is just like a reminder to keep those ideals in mind, even if the nitty-gritty doesn't appear like you're getting anywhere. I feel like I want to look at the card on the bottom of the deck and see what we've got. We have the 4 of coins. And I feel like this is a reminder to be practical, be pragmatic, exerting your energies and your focus effectively. With the Strength card here, it's like making sure that you don't linger or hold on to things that aren't serving the larger picture, because this four of coins can also represent like a holding energy, like a trying to contain something. And while that's not necessarily wrong in terms of like if this is about money, like making sure that you're not overspending, you're saving, you're putting your resources to use effectively, it can also represent a need to allow the exchange to take place, allow the flow of resources to take place, and not trying to like hold on to it because you're afraid of losing it. Like it's in the flow that wealth is kind of manifested, is what I'm hearing. Like it's in the giving and the taking. It's like that process. It's reciprocal and it spirals and it grows and grows and grows. Tapping into that flow rather than trying to dam it up. And it doesn't have to be about money, but like however that applies to your current situation, like I feel like you probably have a better sense of how it applies than I can tap into here with this general reading. But yeah, I think that's all the cards have to say for me right now. But hopefully it provided some clarity for you and some help in some way, some representation, reflection. And let me know in the comments how it resonated with you. I like to hear your stories and the little anecdotes that you guys come up with, and even new like realizations about things that I didn't even mention in the reading. Like your interpretation is just as, if not more important than anything that I'm putting out, because I'm obviously putting out general readings for who knows how many people. It's not going to resonate exactly with everyone, so it's kind of up to you to interpret for yourself the archetype that I'm trying to express through the reading. And if it doesn't resonate, that's fine too. There's plenty of other readings out there that might have something to offer you. But yeah, I'm wishing you the best. I am letting everybody know I'm working on maintaining a monthly reading schedule for the 12 zodiac signs. This round of readings that you're watching right now is part of an experiment to do bi-weekly readings. Didn't work out this time around, so that's all right. After this, I'm going to be working on putting the monthly readings out for next month, for October. So yeah, wishing you all the best. Hang in there, keep going, keep that big picture in mind, and do what you do best. Take care, Pisces.